Yeah, I'm a great believer that innovation isn't a project and it's not the custody of any one individual or department. It is an organizational issue. It's not a function that sits within one part of the business. We do have a group innovation director who actually currently reports to me. I think it's really important that it has a voice and a space at the executive table and at the board. But the danger, of course, by giving somebody that title is that other people then think they can step back and think it's now been delegated and that's been taken care of. So the role of our group innovation director is not to innovate, it's actually to create an ecosystem, an environment of innovation across the whole business, to be an evangelist for innovation and support and stimulate innovative thinking, innovation practices and innovation experimentation across the business, and then to support that in the way that he can. And very deliberately, although we are a London-based business, actually our group innovation director sits in Phoenix, Arizona. I was very keen that he didn't sit in head office, that he actually sat out in one of our business regions. We're a global organization, and I think that's been a really, really good move because it takes it away from, if you like, the center of power of the organization, if power is the right word, and it gives it the freedom and the space to actually work across unconventional organization structures in the business. It shouldn't fit in the normal hierarchy or organization structures of the organization. It should be allowed to roam freely, horizontally and vertically across the organization. That's what I've done in organization, but of course it also requires an individual who can behave in that way as well, and that's equally important. I actually passionately believe that the answer, if the answer is innovation, is going to come from within the organization. I don't think innovation is something, an expression I use quite a lot is that innovation is not something we're going to do to you, it's something we are going to do to ourselves together. I think the best innovative ideas, I hope, and we can see it starting to happen now, are coming from very unusual places in the organization. We saw a very interesting bit of local innovation in our Japanese subsidiary recently, where somebody, a local initiative, a young guy, just experimented with a bot into our business and came up with a very simple, very practical fix to a known business problem, which we're now going to implement around the world. That wasn't a result of me or our innovation director initiating that. That just came spontaneously from the business. And I was encouraged that the organization had the ability to enable that to happen. We just need a lot more of them. In our world, we do a lot of auditing, so we physically go into a lot of offices, buildings, factories, mines to audit and inspect business processes and products. There's a lot of information generated by those inspections and audits, but they're in free format. They are not structured. They're created by individuals. Whilst we have a standard process, the output is quite free form. So it's actually very hard to look at trends and to aggregate knowledge. So the bot essentially is able to run across quite a complex data set and give us some insights into that data that we didn't have before, and point out some trends and some opportunities for us to share that broader knowledge with our clients. Very simple application. It was an off-the-shelf solution. It didn't require any money, just required a bit of time, a bit of thought, and a bit of application. Any business that's not moving forward and changing is not going to be around. So that forward-looking change agenda is going to be there. As a CEO, you have every year, every 3 years, every 5 years, when you do your budgets and your strategic plans, you have to decide, well, how much have you got to invest? And we're not just talking about money, we're also talking about time. Yeah? Time is a precious commodity, and we also think about our ability as an organization and the bandwidth we have as an organization to manage how many change programs. We actually did a prioritization exercise last week with our team and we were quite shocked at the number of change projects that we have ongoing and those that are in the pipeline. And the first realization was, we just cannot do all of that, and we shouldn't. The other realization was actually, in the context of where the business is today, have we got the mix of change projects right? How many of those projects are what I would call infrastructure, keeping the light on, operational efficiency type of projects? How do you keep the machine running faster and more efficiently? And how many of those are client-facing, revenue-generating projects which are going to drive and support future growth? And how many of those projects are enabling our people to be better employees and better when they're in front of the client? And have we got the balance right? So I think there's the question about the quantum of investment. How much can you afford to spend of time and money? And how much can you practically manage? But also, what's the weighting of the investment you put in different areas? And it will depend on if you are a startup, high growth business, I would imagine that probably you're very focused on revenue generating, because without revenue, you don't have a long-term business. For a more legacy business like ours, we of course have to drive long-term revenue growth, but we also have to run efficiently a large established business. So the investment decision it's a portfolio decision. It's not just a question of what percentage of revenue or how many dollars per employee should we be spending on technology. I think it's what are you trying to achieve as a business, what are your priorities, and then make sure your investment is targeted appropriately. We're a slightly different organisation. BSI is a Royal Charter business. We're in the third sector, so we're not a listed company. We are private, but we have no shareholders. So we're a very unusual sort of third model of ownership. We are fully commercial because we have to be. We're in very competitive markets. Because we have no shareholders, we can only spend what we make. All the profits, all the services of BSI are reinvested back into the business. So quite an unusual ownership model. What we discuss often at our board is that gives us the freedom and the latitude at times to take a longer term view. If you hear a lot of chief executives of listed companies bemoaning the fact that their shareholders really want quarterly returns and annual targets, they don't have enough time to think about the long term. I don't have to report every quarter to the city. I don't have an annual an earning per share price to support with my shareholders. Having said that, we have, like any company, we have annual targets and budgets which we are expected to hit. But we can, and we did it a few years ago in our business, and you can see this in our annual report, so it's in the public domain. Although our top line was growing healthily as a business, actually our profits went backwards. Because in 13-14, we actually consciously accelerated investment, knowing that in the short term it would suppress short-term profitability to drive long-term growth profitability. And then you saw in 15, 16, 17, and now in 18, an accelerated growth of the business. So we're able to take those longer-term views and perhaps strategically make investments that perhaps companies in a different ownership structure might not always be able to make.